something that I know that you were a little on and off about, on the fence about.
I did more research, so.
Okay, I'm glad. So the Negro League was a league in, I don't even know what years it was.
Like early 1900s.
Yeah, it was.
Late 1800s-ish.
Yeah.
Very, very vague. But
yeah, very vague. It says, let's see if I can find like an actual time. Beginning in the 1920.
Oh, okay.
But you're right, because it goes baseball players. There was a lot.
Yeah.
But it included teams out of Chicago, Kansas City, Detroit, St. Louis. It was Midwest, very heavy, middle of the country. MLB has been doing a project for a while to figure out statistics from these leagues. It was a long process, but now that they have all these statistics, they have decided to incorporate them into MLB's historical database, which then changes. Like a lot of people know, that big one, Ty Cobb, is not the MLB average leader now. It is a gentleman called Josh Gibson, not the football player who smoked a lot of weed. But
no, Josh Gibson was nasty. He hit 372 during his career. I knew of Josh Gibson before this. So
he's one of those people that you really know where you know. But he had a 38 WAR. He had 166 RBI or home runs, 373 from the average, RBI 733, 40 stolen bases. He was a baller, and I think it's cool, because I think there's a difference from someone was arguing, well, you should have the Japanese league, but I think there's a difference because the Japanese league is a professional league and anyone can go play in it.
Yeah, it was different.
Julio, Ken Griffey Jr., anyone can go play in that league. No one's telling you different. Back in the early 1900s in the United States, there was still a lot of division,
segregation,
among colored people, and the Negro League was their only out to go play quote unquote professional sports, baseball.
Yeah.
I think Jackie Robinson obviously broke the barrier because Jackie Robinson was so good, but I think it's cool because they didn't have a choice. It was technically professional baseball in the United States.
Yeah.
Was it not considered whatever it was called back then, Major League Baseball? No. But I think I'm okay with it.
The only thing I would think it'd be interesting because I think when I looked it up, there's still 60 players that played in the Negro League. They're still alive. What they think, because I've heard some nephews and grandsons and stuff what they've said about it, but because for me, what I would think is if I was excluded from a league, would I really want my records even in that league?
Yeah, that's fair.
So I mean, I understand what they're saying, but for me, it's hard to I don't know. Obviously they should have played in the league. That's not what I'm saying at all.
Yeah.
But they didn't. So it's what's the?
I don't know. Do you want to be a part of something that? And I think it's hard because
that's my biggest thing that I would for that. But if they want to, sure.
And I think that's hard because the people who would have said no to them are probably dead.
That's where.
And so now it's the people that are trying to be like, hey, we're trying to help you out a little bit and make up for a mistake that was made not by us. Yeah, I agree with you. Do they really want to be a part of it? I
don't know.
But it is interesting. I have not heard anyone say it, but I agree with you. I think that would be interesting.
But I just think at the end of the day, it doesn't really
it's cool. It doesn't really change a lot.
No.
It's I think in all honesty, I'm not trying to be a bad person, but I'm not going to go study the Negro League and learn all their players. I just know who Ty. I mean, I don't even know. I know Ty Cobb, but I don't know Ty Cobb. I don't.
Well, nobody even cares. I mean, obviously, having a major league record is
that's
very
cool.
successful.
Josh Gibson, 100%.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's just no one will be able to see it, and we live in such a relevant, status.
Those records were never going to get broken, regardless.
Yeah, 100%.
To be honest with you guys.
No doubt. Yeah, 100%. And it's just one of those things where we're such on a relevant bias type of situation to where I know we did a short the other day, and you missed Cal Ripken Jr.
Yeah,
and we had a comment come underneath and say basically, how do you forget him? He's the best shortstop of all time. And my kind of defense was, it's a different era.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know who Sketch is, but you know who Cal Ripken Jr. is. I know who Cal Ripken is. It's hard to do it in a minute, but we know who Cal Ripken Jr. is.
Oh yeah.
But there is that difference of
Iron Man.
Who is gonna who's gonna like? I don't. When I saw Josh Gibson first, I literally thought of the Cleveland Brown wide receiver who got in trouble for smoking pot like 8 times.
Yeah, I just knew of him just from.
But
he's just a name that kind of floats around in baseball. But
sure, but it is interesting because I think, like you said, like not like you don't want to say it in the fact of like who cares, but like who cares, and it is hard because you look at like the argument now with like the Washington Commanders. There is a huge petition going out to get the Washington Redskins back because the logo was a very historical tribe.
It was a chief
leader, from a massive time, one of the bigger tribes in the United States, and it does spark that question of, is doing this helping or is it hurting? Where is that line of, we're trying to do what's best, but we're also being idiots and not thinking about it fully. Because for the most part, obviously it looks like Native Americans really think that the Redskin was a part of their culture. It's a part of their history, and they really want to keep it.
It's hard when like people that aren't involved.
That's what I mean. It's like it's always a dumb white person being like, "I hate this," and it's like you don't even know the lick about it.
So that's where it's tough.
Yeah, but I agree. So I think it's cool because you are kind of opening a door to a history book, and I just like history. So it did to me. I was like, wow.
I mean, it's a part of baseball's history, regardless if they didn't play in the MLB. 100%. But Major League Baseball is American baseball at the end of the day.
It's just it's all that.
It's just a part. I mean, you could make the same argument with like the steroid era, whether those stats should be included. So I mean, that's a whole
different
but it's the same premise as far as, I mean, they did technically play in the MLB, but they cheated. They
100%.
used substances weren't allowed. So like, I mean, that's kind of how I was thinking about it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But speaking of the Negro Leagues, they're actually going to play a game at Rickwood Field.
Oh,
which
I did kind of hear
I had
about this.
never heard of it before.
I don't know the field, but I remember them saying that they were going to play a game.
Yeah, it is the oldest ballpark still around. I think it was built in the, gosh dang, I think 1910.
I can let you know in a second, but keep going. 1910,
but it's going to be perfect. It's going to be the Giants versus the Cardinals on June 20th. They're just going to play one game there. I think there's 8,300 seats. It was renovated.
It says 10,000.
It did have 10,000. Then they cut it. They did some renovations. It's lower for some reason, which doesn't seem to usually happen because they want to sell more tickets.
I was going to say make tickets more expensive. Where's it at?
It's in Birmingham, Alabama. But it's going to be cool. I think it's going to be, I mean, especially with them incorporating the Negro League stats, it'll be fun to see it just to, because it was mostly a minor league.
And it was a Negro.
And then it was the Barons. It was Barons. I cannot remember
the Birmingham Black Barons of the Negro League.
That's what I was like. I knew it was, and then like I know. Let me find a bunch of Hall of Famers have played there
for the
so
Barons.
It wasn't just no, like I think
for the Black Barons.
No, just for like in general, because I think it was a bunch of people have played there. Not even just in the Negro Leagues, but a bunch of
Artie Wilson,
Willie Mays played there.
Oh yeah, Satchel Paige was there for a little bit. Bill Greason, Jay Hurd.
For some reason, I feel like I saw Babe Ruth, but maybe I'm mixing that with something else I read.
The Hall of Famers from there: Willie Mays.
There it is. Yep.
Partial. Mule Suttles.
Mm-hmm.
He was inducted in 2006. That's a long time after he retired.
Yeah.
Willie Wells. Yeah, there's some other good names in there.
So pretty cool. I mean, I think it'll be a fun.
Yeah, that'll be
it's
interesting.
It's like when they did the Field of Dreams a couple years ago.
Yeah, that was kind of dumb, but it was kind of cool. It was like
it was interesting.
Yeah, it was.
It was a cool idea.
It's one of those things. It's like it's a cool, fun thing to try, but I don't think it worked
that well. Yeah. And then Paul Skeens has been insane.
Oh my gosh! Why, dude? Did I not call him being? I'm pretty sure I had him.
The only thing I will say is he has only made 4 starts.
So freaking what? He could stop right now, and he still is going to win Rookie of the Year.
No, he won't. No.
He is 2-0 with a 2.45 ERA and like 30 strikeouts.
22 innings pitched, and he's 2-0. Yes, he's been great, but it's been 4 starts. So chill.
Yeah, I'm not going to say like what they said on MLB Network.
Oh my!
Like he's already going to be. What they say is like he's already. They
literally they can like rank him number 1. I was like, you guys are wild. Look at Brian Wu these last 3 starts.
Brian Wu's been very, very good.
So yeah. Again, West Coast bias on.
No, you can be West Coast bias because West Coast bias doesn't exist. It's all East Coast bias.
I know. They just don't look.
No. So I think Paul Skeens is going to be one of the best pitchers in baseball for a long time.
I hope
as long as his rotator cuff and his Tommy Johns, everything, he can continue to throw 100 miles an hour. But yes, he looks like a superstar, just like his girlfriend. Yeah, baseball's kind of going crazy.
Thanks for watching the Kind of Athletic podcast. Please make sure to like and subscribe on all of our social medias, and we will see you next week.